Whoa! I'm on the wrong display. There we go. That is more like it. Oops. I forgot how to stream. Everything's wrong. Okay, this should be pretty good. Pretty good dimensions. It's not the full window, but I don't want it to be the full window anyway, so. Get some natural light in here. Looks a little better. I've got kind of a Star Wars movie poster thing going with the lighting, where like half of my face is like reddish orange, and then the other half is blue. That's kind of like every modern Star Wars movie trailer. And by modern, I mean from 10 years ago. Because The Force Awakens is almost 10 years old, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, I'm gonna start linking the stream. Where was it? Announcements. There I am. All right. Everyone. Streaming. Ask me anything. Right now. Yes, Discord. I want to add everyone. I am the server owner. I think I do want to add everyone. You don't have to ask me every time I do it. Absurd. Why does it do this? I shaved finally. I know No Shave November technically is still going on today, but I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't do it. It's been too long. And I think I look better without the full beard. Maybe if I could fully grow the beard. Maybe if I could fully grow the beard like good, it would be better. But right now, I mean, it's just not gonna happen. But I can grow this right here, and I can grow this right here, and that looks pretty good. I wish they would connect so I could have the cool goatee, but the half cool goatee will have to do until I can do better. But yeah. So I'm gonna wait for people to join. I want to give it a little minute before I talk about Little Miss Steele. I'm gonna talk about some. I've saved up a few tweets and a Reddit post that I want to talk about. We're gonna start with this one. Shamik Moore, rest in peace, man. He's alive. He's not dead. Let me rephrase. Rest in peace, Shamik Moore's hopes and dreams. This tweet, there's still more people to meet, more opportunities to come, and more chances to try, live, learn, adapt. He posted this approximately an hour after after Haley Steinfeld announced that she's engaged to, what's his name, Josh Allen? Something like that. Yeah, I want to kill you, Josh Allen. I want you to kill Josh Allen. Oh, man. I put this on here because it's kind of sad. Me and my friend, who's also named Ethan, have like a... yeah, here it is, man. Look at the timing of it, dude. 6 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago. That can't be right. It can't be 1 minute apart from each other. It can't be 1 minute apart. It can't be, man. That means he had to have had like Haley Steinfeld, like her account or whatever, on push notifications. And he found that and then immediately, within a minute, wrote this little post and said, it's okay. There's more opportunities. Plenty of fish in the sea. Meanwhile, he's crying. He's like, there's gotta be like, there must be the Wojak meme where he's got the mask on and he's happy, but he's actually sad underneath the mask. What the heck is this? Man, I'm trying to find it. Come on, someone's got to have posted this. This one is also really good. Shameik Moore at Haley's wedding. Doctor Strange 2. Which people say it's a bad film. I don't necessarily think it's a bad film, but it's definitely not a good film. It's got its moments. I mean, it's directed by Sam Raimi, so I mean, it's good. It's definitely got its good moments, but I think there's some writing studio interference that's messing it up. Shameik Moore the Josh Allen after having the symbiote. I'm trying to find the one where it's like the Wojak that's got the mask on and he's crying. Because I saw it earlier. Yeah, man, this again. This again, man. Gosh knows. Oh, dude. That had, like, because the theme, the theme of Doctor Strange 2, of being like, I messed up, I'll never have her again because she's happier with someone else. I need to accept that and move on. It's a good story that you don't, woo! It's a good story that you don't see a whole lot in superhero films, or just films in general, is that, like, I am not the best person for this woman. Even though I love her, I have to love her enough to let her move on, to find someone better than me. Like, that's a strong message, man. It's a message that I think more people need to hear. Instead of all the movies saying, like, yes, of course they're going to get back together. Spoiler alert for Guardians of the Galaxy 3. But yeah, kind of, that movie had a similar quote with some characters too. I won't say who it is, but even just mentioning it in this vein is like, yeah, okay, I can't find it. I can't find the Wojak meme. I can't find it. I'm really sad. This is really funny too, though. All right, that's enough. Shameik Moore, I'm sorry, buddy. I'm sorry. Look, Haley Steinfeld is a beautiful woman, but you just, I don't know, you didn't have the Spider-Man Riz. You didn't have the, hey, Riz, you know what I mean? I felt cringe just doing that. Another one, Spider-Man related. You love to see it, man. It's so funny. Oh, man. What was this? Oh, yeah, that's right. This was this. Some people are saying, like, Vi has no boobs in Arcane. And it's true. She's not a boob girl in Arcane. But is that very important to the story? No. I think both designs are really good. I like both designs. I actually prefer this one over this one, to be honest. Because this one's just got too much going on as far as the armor and everything. It's just a little too much. And then, though I do like the ripped leggings. This design I just think is overall just like a lot more appealing. Plus I like the art style better, of course. The art style looks better here than it does here, of course. Even the hair, I like the hair here instead of there. This style is, they're almost the same style, but like it just looks better in Arcane's art style. So yeah, I mean, and even here, like, it's not like she's got gigantic boobs in the original art style anyway. People just be complaining to complain. For sure. But I don't know. I don't really have a problem with the Arcane design. Speaking of designs, Wolverine. And someone pointed out that this character from Arcane resembles Wolverine a little bit. And I'm only just now realizing it whenever I see this comment. I'm like, this guy actually does look like Wolverine. Marvel Rivals, which I will be playing whenever it releases. I played the early test build of it a few months ago. And it was really fun. It was pretty good. I should have played it more, but I was too busy working on Little Miss Steel. But this design, how do I feel about it? The thing with Marvel Rivals is I kind of think it's it's going for an Overwatch style when it comes to aesthetics, because this is a very casual looking Wolverine, right? He's wearing a jacket, he's not wearing a uniform. Um, he's got like a belt that says Wolverine and jeans, it looks like. Like, he's not in a superhero suit. But I do love this design. I think this design, he's the hot-headed member of the team. I totally get that just by looking at him immediately. Like, he looks like he's the hot-headed team member. The facial hair is pretty cool, as Wolverine usually has, like, that kind of facial hair. The hair being kind of long and swept down instead of going like this, I think looks more natural. Like, if they made a new Wolverine movie with a new actor and he looked like this, I think that would be a pretty good Wolverine. Now, that being said, he looks gigantic. And I'm not sure, because Wolverine is usually short, right? That's like one of the things that they say about Hugh Jackman, is that he's too tall to play Wolverine, but he is a good Wolverine on acting skills. But like and even like his face, he looks like Wolverine. But like, he's like too tall. Wolverine is like 5'5" or something like that, which makes me feel validated as a 5'8" man. Uh, but yeah, this is a good design. I think it's pretty good. I like it. It's not going to be my favorite design, but for what Marvel Rivals is going for with their art style, for certain characters and everything, I like this. I would love to see a show animated like this. Honestly, I would say this game looks more like Arcane than Overwatch. Like, maybe there's some aesthetic things that it's taking from Overwatch, but it looks more like Arcane. Because look at this. Does this not just kind of look like it could be from the same show/game? It just kind of looks like it, right? Someone's not liking it. Someone's saying it looks more like Beast. And like, yeah, why is Vander dressed like Wolverine? That is also a good point. I do think this guy, I cannot remember his name, but I do think this guy looks more like him than Vander does. But this is really funny, though. I like that. It's a really funny parallel here with like how the characters look. But and like I said, this is a perfect example of that this show and this game look very similar. I like the look of Marvel Rivals. It looks good. It plays good. It's got some cool ideas to it. I'm a fan. I want to play it. Speaking of superhero stuff, Kevin Conroy, rest in peace, passed away 2 years ago. He would be 69 today. Fantastic, definitive Batman. I don't think we'll ever get anyone as good as Batman, good for Batman as him when it comes to voicing him. And when it comes to playing him in live action, I think that goes to Robert Pattinson. I think the guy is possibly the best Batman ever. Maybe not as good as Bruce Wayne. I would say Christian Bale is a better Bruce Wayne. But as a Batman, I think Robert Pattinson really nails it. But yeah. I mean, he voiced the role in 1992 all the way up until his death, including some shows and voice lines in video games that he did before his passing. And one of his last is in the Disney movie, was it Crisis on Infinite Earths? I think it's like part 2 or part 3, where the animated series Batman is fighting Joker as the world is getting like destroyed into a million atoms, and he's like, "This is how my lights go out. At least I'm going out being Batman," or something like that. And they had Mark Hamill doing the Joker. Not originally, in the original release of it, they made a mistake. They had a stand-in for Mark Hamill. I guess they didn't know if they were going to get him to do the voice, but I guess they had a placeholder until then. But they fixed it in like a re-release of the film that actually has Mark Hamill doing the voice. And it's great. It's great hearing them both doing it again. And that's sadly the last time we will ever hear them voicing the characters again, because Mark Hamill has even said that he's done with the Joker if Kevin Conroy isn't around to do Batman with him. Like, and I think that's very respectable. Mark Hamill gets kind of clowned on social media for a lot of his absurd uh, takes, for sure. But good actor. Respect the guy for all the great work he's done. And then I wanted to show this scene. This is funny because this guy said, my problem with this scene is that they portrayed war as being horrifying and terrible instead of epic and cool like in real life. I love that. It's really funny. This is from Solo, one of the most underrated films of all time, in my opinion. It is the second best thing Disney Star Wars has put out, in my opinion. I think, well, let me put it like this. Second best film Disney has put out. The first one is Rogue One, of course. Rogue One is what I would almost consider a total masterpiece. Selfishly, I would call it a masterpiece. But I understand it has its flaws, right? But yeah, this film is really good. You should watch it. But don't give Disney your money, so do it by other means. Anyway, but basically, the movie I thought was really good. It did it need to happen? No, but it was really good. And when it comes to shows, Andor is number one, and then The Mandalorian season 1 and 2 are the second best shows that Disney has put out. If you told me to title all of them, all the stuff, I would say Andor is number one. I'm trying to get in the camera. Andor is number one. Rogue One is number two. The Mandalorian, seasons 1 and 2, and then Solo. If you tell me that I have to include Mandalorian season 3, I'm going to take The Mandalorian off, put Solo in its place, and then for fourth place, I'm going to put the Bad Batch animated series. But that's about it. Everything else is there's a few more things I would consider good, but overall it's very mid to bad. For Disney Star Wars. Very mid to bad. The Force Awakens is not a bad film, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense with the Star Wars lore. And then The Last Jedi, I would say, is, objectively speaking, a better film than The Force Awakens. But as a Star Wars film, it's the worst of them all. It's very hard, and I've come to this opinion, that The Last Jedi, as a film, is good. But as a Star Wars movie, it is not good. It's a complicated way to describe it. And maybe I'll do a video someday about why I feel that way. But overall, I can't defend the movie on some of the creative choices because it just doesn't make sense. It goes against everything that the original trilogy. In fact, the whole sequel trilogy just kind of goes against what the original trilogy and the prequels were trying to do. It's just it's completely out of nowhere. That the First Order rises in 30 years after the Chosen One was prophesied to bring balance to the Force. And then in 30 years, everything's back to normal, back to the way it was under the Empire, but possibly worse? What kind of a prophecy is that? The prophecy existed for probably thousands of years. And then it comes true. And everyone's like, yay, yay, no more tyranny, yay. And then tyranny happens in 30 years. What's the point of the prophecy, man? What's the point of the prophecy? And if you want to say that Rey was the true prophecy, get out of here, man. It completely undoes everything about Anakin, which I don't like this plot point, but he was born without a dad. He was born of the Force, Virgin Mary type of stuff. I don't like that. I have never liked that plot point. But Star Wars did it, and they said, this is why Anakin is the Chosen One. And then they made the Acolyte and said, actually, this can happen multiple times. Anakin is not special at all. So it's Disney is yes, Rey is the Chosen One. And then every fan is just no, that's stupid. You are actively you are writing fan fiction and rewriting the films. In retrospect, you are doing some revisionist history right now, and it's not acceptable, man. Just write something else. Write a new, just like I would prefer if Disney's Star Wars took place way in the future and didn't include any characters from the original films. Just have it completely be detached and be its own thing, like Knights of the Old Republic, man. Those games were like heralded as some of the best Star Wars media out there. And it's got like a bunch of stuff that's completely original and well, I won't say completely original because of course it's based off of Star Wars, but I mean it's just I would prefer that than what Disney did, but it's too late now. The franchise is already dead. A franchise that's not dead that I want to be alive so bad when it comes to film is Batman Beyond. Now, I would prefer an animated Batman Beyond, not a live action, but this question is being proposed. Which actor is perfect to play Terry McGinnis in a hypothetical live action movie? Terry McGinnis is Batman Beyond. He is the protege of Bruce, as Bruce is like 80 years old. Can't be Batman anymore when he's 80. And there was recently a live action short film for Batman Beyond it was like a fan short film with the actor who played Beast Boy in the Titans series. Not a good series. Very bad. But obviously some of the guys on the show are enthusiastic about it and they like what they do, which is fine. Enjoy what you do, whatever. It's not the actor's fault that the show writers are terrible. But if there were to be like an actual live action Batman Beyond, one, I think the suit looks pretty good. Whoever made this drawing is really good. They understood the assignment. But who would I cast? I would cast Dylan O'Brien. This guy. I would cast this dude. Now, the beard does not work with Terry McGinnis, but you may know him from Maze Runner. You may know him from this. Now, obviously, this movie franchise came out in 2014. I think it ended in like 2019, I want to say was the last film. So yeah, he's a little bit older now. He's 33 years old. But the guy still looks pretty young. I could totally see him playing Terry McGinnis. Like his acting in Maze Runner is what I'm kind of basing it off of. I would love to see this. Why else should oh yeah, you can't really see the picture of him with the beard. Why else should Terry McGinnis be played by Dylan O'Brien? Well, he just so happened to star in a film called American Assassin with Michael Keaton in it. Why Michael Keaton is so significant? Why is he significant? Because the dude played Batman! 1989, he played Batman in Tim Burton's Batman movie. It was like the first serious live-action Batman movie. It was very goofy. But it was more serious. It was way more serious and dark-toned than previous Batman live-action attempts. Like, Adam West. I love Adam West. I love Adam West as Batman. But he's very goofy. It's like a cartoon brought to life, man. And the Batman movie in 1989 was a bit more serious, a bit more darker take on the character, a bit more, I guess, realistic. And he recently came back to playing that version of Batman in the terrible movie Flash. So bad it ended the DCU, or actually the DCU was confirmed to be ending before the film dropped. But I'm pretty sure the execs at DC saw the writing on the wall and said, "Yeah, we're not going forward after this movie bombs, so we're just gonna drop it in Aquaman 2, and then that's a wrap. James Gunn, please save us." Oh yeah, I just realized the microphone was down here. My bad. You probably haven't been able to hear me very well. I apologize for that. But yeah, I can see Dylan O'Brien playing a good Terry. I can see Michael Keaton playing a very good Bruce, obviously. As far as Blight, I would like to see Nicolas Cage play Blight. I mean, look, let me just look up Batman Beyond Derek Powers. Like, look at him. Look at him. Look at him here. Now imagine Nick Cage. Imagine Nick Cage with white hair. He's even got practically the same hairline. Like, and you saw Nick Cage play Ghost Rider. If you remember the Ghost Rider movie, you saw him go crazy as he's turning into, the flaming skeleton form. Now just imagine that. Imagine that, but for this scene. Like, can you not just, put that character, that acting for that character, and put it on this guy, and it just work? I don't know. I feel like it would totally work. Nicolas Cage's Blight, Derek Powers. Like, it would be perfect. Dare I say, it would be perfect, man. So Nicolas Cage, that's my casting as Derek Powers' Blight. Dylan O'Brien as Terry McGinnis, and Michael Keaton as Bruce. Now, alternatively, we can have a lesser known young actor play Terry McGinnis. Timothy Chalamet, no, not. I don't think he would work. Tom Holland, no, get him out of here, no. I like Tom Holland, but no. I don't know. There's just maybe just find some lesser knowns, or just get the guy who did Beast Boy and Titans. Get him to play Batman Beyond. But this is for a proposed live action Batman. I would prefer a 3D animated Batman like Spider-Verse. In fact, it is my background. It is my desktop background. It's some concept art that some guys pitched to Warner Brothers, but they turned it down. And I think they're doing the Minecraft movie. Anger, for sure, anger. But yeah, that's basically it. That's basically all I wanted to talk about with this. But I think I've given it enough time. It is time for a Little Miss Steel Chapter 2 rundown. It is time to go through this and talk about some stuff. Let me make sure everyone is good to go. Ask me anything. Stream is happening now. Oh yeah, let me actually put this on DeviantArt as well. I'm doing some pretty significant polls on DeviantArt. Like, I'm asking for feedback, like, how was the action? How was the humor? The action, it seems pretty unanimous, 100%. People love the action and the environments that the action scenes took place in. How was the humor in Little Miss Steel 2? 7 votes on this one, and it's got, I think 5 people voted hilarious, 2 people voted, okay. So, I don't know if maybe that means I need to tone up the humor or tone down the humor. No one voted for the third option, bad, I didn't even chortle. Which I just wanted to use the word chortle because it's funny. But I do like OC polls as well. So like just characters I draw for DeviantArt only. That gets reshared on other platforms, I guess. So it's not DeviantArt only. But you can vote on what happens with those characters. So I'll make a new post. Ask me anything. Stream is live. Submit. Now hopefully people will join that from DeviantArt. This way I have more questions. Because I can do a stream where it's just me talking through the thought process of the writing and the drawing. But I would prefer to have like some actual people asking me questions. Maybe the timing is bad because it's like midday Saturday, but I figure everyone would be off Saturday. And people probably wouldn't be doing a whole lot because Thursday people are having Thanksgiving. Unless a lot of people are having Thanksgiving on Saturday. In which case, I understand. But so far, getting close to 300 views on this within 2 days. Which is, or actually a day and a half, which is pretty good. It's faster than I think this was gaining views, the first one. And it's got over 1,000. It doesn't tell me exactly how much, but I know it's over 1,000. On Webtoon, it's a little bit less. I think it's mainly because Webtoon's algorithm is kind of just worse for how I'm uploading it. Webtoon prefers you to upload a bunch of episodes. And while I could divide everything into like 3 episodes, I could probably do 3 episodes of the first issue, 3 episodes of the second issue. I don't know, man. I feel like it's not how it's intended to be read. It's intended to be read all the way through at once. And we live in a world where it's like shorter, make it shorter. Make it into shorter segments. Make it shorter. Attention span is bad. Please make it shorter. And I refuse to take part in that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to make the problem worse about attention spans. Because it's a real problem. It's a terrible problem. But yeah, like, you know, Webtoon's only pulling 264 views. In comparison, it's not as much as Global Comics. But getting over 1,000 views on Global Comics is pretty good. 26 people subscribe to it, though, which is pretty nice. 10-star ratings. Haven't received anything less, which is nice. I don't know how many ratings it is. Does it say? I don't think so. But, yeah, this is nice. I like that. And then Tapas. I just removed Tapas from my favorited tabs because it's worthless to post on there. I'm sorry. They got bought out by the same company that owns Webtoon. Why would they ever improve Tapas ever again? Why would they improve the competition to Webtoon? Why? It doesn't make any sense. So Tapas is just kind of like, I think it's just on the way out, as if it was ever in to begin with. The only reason I even used Tapas was because I wanted to upload my books, my web novels. But honestly, I think I will just, in the future, if I want to post again, like I'll finish, you know, at some point whenever I get back to Symbiotic, which is on hiatus just because I talked about it in the previous stream. But Symbiotic, if I ever get to the point where I want to post book 3, I will do it on Tapas because the rest of it is on there. I will do it. I will finish it on there because there's people that are subscribed on there, and that's good. But I think in the future, if I want to post any novels, I think I'll just do it on my own website. Because what's stopping me from doing that, right? Like, there's nothing stopping me from just making a personal blog or something. Little Miss Steel versus Metal Sonic. Who wins? I think Metal Sonic probably wins. I think as a robot, it's a lot more calculated. I think it's a lot more calculated and organized about, like, you know, what moves to pick and everything to discombobulate the opponent. Especially right now, like current Little Miss Steel is very green. Like she doesn't really have any experience fighting, so I think she loses. But maybe 3-4 comics into the future, maybe it's a different story. Maybe Little Miss Steel is better than Metal Sonic at that point. You'll just have to wait and see. For sure. But yeah, the next comic, it'll definitely be spring. I think it'll be early spring By the way, Evie, this is Catman. Oh, hey, what's up? This is my disconnected channel. Okay. Disconnected channel. Trying to figure out what that means in YouTube terms. RE98. Is that a Resident Evil reference? RE98. I'm sure Resident Evil had a game that came out in 98, right? It was probably Resident Evil 3 or 2. I'm not super like I know a discontinued. Oh, I got you. I know like the basic lore of Resident Evil because I went on a binge of watching RE lore after I got into RE7. But up until that, I never really cared for Resident Evil. But that game was so good that it made me it made me super into the lore, and I watched a bunch of videos about it. No, it's an Elastigirl reference. Oh, I see. That is your profile picture now. It's kind of hard to tell the tiny profile icon that I have on here on this monitor. But okay. Anyway, I'm gonna start going through. And if you have any questions about Little Miss Steel 2, let me know. So let me start. So yeah, so this one, it's a picture of outside of Phoenix. Great analysis here. I'm becoming a streamer react channel. But yeah, I mean this one I didn't really use a specific reference of Phoenix or anywhere like around it. I kind of looked up pictures of bridges at this angle, and I found one that I just kind of used as a reference to make it work. The idea of making, what is it called, templates of textures for images and then using it on like everything is continuing to pay off because this whole thing here, all of this ground is one layer of weird shapes that make it look like rock or gravel. And then a second layer is put on top of it for shading that gives it depth. Like this is lower in the valley, this is a second level of the valley, and then this is the top layer of the valley. And like the shading makes it look like the walls are going like sort of three-dimensional. They're going in and out, closer and farther away. And I'm proud of the effect that it pulls off. And then the other one is the line sort of zoom effect on the road that gives it a sort of gradients to make you see like, it's closer or farther. And that has been a huge payoff. I don't make videos anymore because A, I'm far too busy with my life. Relatable. B, the YouTube admins are incompetent. Also relatable. And C, I'm just burned out of content. Yeah, this channel is 12 years old. I started making videos when Markiplier started making videos, just to give you a reference. It might actually be 13 years old now. I've been doing this channel for a while, but I haven't been like... It's not the same thing that it was, because it started out just me recording myself playing Pokemon with my 3DS camera, recording my CRT TV, play Pokemon Battle Revolution with a 3DS camera, and that's how it started, and then it just sort of moved on to trying to do Pokemon commentary because I was super into playing competitive Pokemon, and then around like mid high school I was like, I hate competitive Pokemon. I realized that I just hate the randomness of it. So I started doing other games. Started doing horror games and stuff like that. Got burnt out on editing. Because I used to love editing. But then I started doing it for like my job. And like, it's what I went to school for and everything. And then I was like, I never want to edit for fun ever again. And I still do not like editing videos that much, unless it's like a trailer for the comic, in which case like that's fun. But yeah, it's just I got burned out in editing really bad. So nowadays, if I ever upload anything or if I stream, it's usually like unedited, but it's I write what I'm going to say in videos ahead of time, so I can be more concise. Not like a full on script, but like a bullet point list of things to talk about that keep me on track, keep me brief. And you might look at my video length and say 30 minutes. That's brief. It is for me. But anyway, just talking about the texture stuff. This plant, I forget what this plant is called, but I looked it up. It's a very popular plant that you see just all over the place in Arizona. And I actually had someone do not a test reading, but someone who did commissioned artwork. Let me pull it up, actually. Let me pull it up. Where's it at? Luma Steel. Oh, there it is. Yep. Chalupa Chugga, which is the name of the artist, did this. You probably saw me post this a little while back. Lovely art. I love it so much. This is this also looks like it could be a cartoon, and I love it so much, and that's what made me want to get a commission. So I got Chester and V, and fantastic job. I love this. But turns out, this guy, while he was drawing the characters, was like, man, I love their designs. I want to see what they're about. So he read the chapter 1 and was like, hey, I am also from Arizona. And I'm like, cool, I'm not from Arizona, but but some friends of mine are. And that's why I kind of landed at the Arizona location. But the thing with this was that he was like, hey, yeah, there's some other plants and stuff. So he showed me some pictures of other plants. So next time I'm gonna add a little more plant life to this, to make it even feel more immersive into it. Anyways, I won't pester you any longer. You're not pestering me, man. This is the whole point of the stream is to interact with the chat. I'll be seeing what tomorrow holds on your DeviantArt channel. Yes, big post coming for people who have been following the Yishu and Vinny story arc. Immediately I wanted to open up with kind of a joke. I wanted to start off with kind of a joke, funny tone at the beginning, because it gets a little more serious as it goes. And yeah, so Chester's neck is stretched to an insane amount. Pause. And then the next page is him getting stuff thrown at him, which is a little precarious. But he's doing the cartoon. He's doing the Looney Tunes, like ducking his head between his shoulder, but his head actually goes all the way down to like the center of his chest. Like, it's not that extreme. It's not that Looney Tunes, but it's pretty close to it. I kind of took inspiration from that. Of course, most of these pages you've probably seen because I post them on in the Discord, and then I also post them on DeviantArt. But I post more on Discord than I do DeviantArt, so you better join. The link tree is let me actually type that. Let me not all caps. /Demonico. There you go. That's the link tree. Let me make sure it works. It does. Oh, that's right. It changed. I changed it to only have the 3. I forgot about that. I need to edit that because I was changing this one to be used in the physical prints of Little Miss Steel, which, by the way, let me show you. We got real physical prints of Little Miss Steel. 20 of them to be exact, printed with Kablam. Thank you, Kablam. Not sponsored, but I did enjoy their service. I've got 20 of them bad boys. Or bad girls. And I'm going to sell them locally. They're not going to be countrywide distributed or worldwide distributed. I don't have the ability to do that. But I am going to be selling them locally. So obviously, I'm not going to say where it's at. But I'm hoping to sell. I only ordered 20 because I'm not thinking it's going to sell a whole lot. But the place I'm selling it, it's sort of a family event. There's a lot of kids that show up there, ages from like 8 to 12, 13. Pretty good demographic of the type of audience that I want for this. And, adults can read it too, of course. But it's made with kids in mind. So if I'm going to be able to get that audience, that would be really cool. And then to have a good fan base online as well. Now, the only thing is if this comic sells a lot at the local place and there's a lot of kids suddenly really into Little Miss Steel, I'm gonna have to retool the Discord server because, obviously if a kid is below 13, they're getting banned from the Discord. But there's certain memes and artworks that can't get shared in the Discord if that happens. If it gets overrun by a bunch of 13-year-olds, I'm like, something's got to change, right? Something about the server's there's got to be some better moderation or something to it. And maybe I get some community mods, but we'll see. That is all potential in the future, but looking to, if I sell like half of them, I've made my money back plus. So the comic, ordering them was not expensive. $6 per comic. Not bad at all. I sell them each for like $15. It's really not that bad. Now you might say, why are you selling it for $15 when it only costs $6 to print? Because I did the work. I made the images that the book gets printed onto anyway. You're not paying for the paper. You're paying for the artwork and the writing. You're paying for the experience. So, and $15 is not bad. I've compared it to other comic prices. It's certainly better than the Rippaverse comics, let me tell you right now. Because even with them being cheaper, they're still $25, and that is a little expensive for comics. But I'll pay it because I know it's indie stuff. And I would rather pay that for indies than I would for DC or Marvel or anything else. But yeah, it's plus I know I'm gonna get my product when I ordered from the Rippaverse because they're very consistent. They're very business minded. They have a customer service contact thing. It is basically a business, and it's not like an indie comic creator. It's an indie comic business, and I like that. But there's also some negatives that come with it. Maybe I could talk about that more in the future. But yeah. You guys have kind of seen this panel. I started doing this thing where if the shot is super zoomed out, I just draw the silhouettes. Because I'm confident in my character design that all of them are recognizable with just their silhouettes. I don't need to give them all detail. You can tell who all these characters are based on context clues for the previous page, but also the silhouettes. The hair is mainly what gives it away. You got Amy with long hair on the couch. LeJohn with like shoulder length hair standing at the computer. He's also kind of built. You got Chester who's skinnier with the spiky hair. He's over here. And then V with the kind of swept sideways, swept outwards hair. You can just tell all of them apart. So I'm confident about that. A fun fact about this. Fun fact about him blowing the gust of air. I did like a cartoonish thing like that. I wanted to do something similar to it. I had a hard time drawing this without making it look like a schlong and balls. I had to work on it quite a bit. And if you're creative enough, it still might look that way. If you look for it hard enough, it might look that way, but this was heavily edited. I had to do a lot of like working on to make this look not like a schlong. But anyways, this artwork of uh, the main hangout spot. I drew it back in Little Miss Steel 1. In fact, let me open that up in a new tab. It's at the very end. It's like the second to last page. I drew it here. I lost a flash drive with the source images, so I could not use this ever again because it was stuck like this. I could not add the lighting or anything, so I had to start all over, which sucked. But basically, that was, I think, a blessing in disguise because I wasn't fully happy with how this one turned out anyway. So going back to this one, you can see it's very, very similar in how it looks, but it is overall better. It is just overall better. The steps look better because I got the bar that's connecting them to the side, which realistically you would need for steps like this. I would say even the couch looks better. The the portal looks better. The computer looks better. It's got far more detail to it, to the panel and everything. And then there's like some other stuff, like there's this carpet. There's the room dividers with the beds, and even if you look at the beds, you can see there's a little bit of storytelling here. Amy's bed, which is the pink one, of course, because she's the girly girl of the group, is perfectly neat, perfectly set, nothing wrong with it at all. V's bed, she's a little bit of a tomboy, so her bed is not perfectly made, but it's not horrendous. Chester's bed is completely a mess. the blanket is completely a mess, and wrinkled all over. LeJohn's bed is outside of frame, but it's right beside V's, and his would be perfectly kept as well because he is a responsible young man. But that's just like, just something like that, just some visual storytelling. Color code the beds so that everyone can see the character differences, right? And you didn't need to see this to know that Chester doesn't make his bed. I mean, just Chester's character speaks for himself. But yeah, I also wanted to experiment with stuff like, the target breaking out of the frame here and stuff like that, like the Chibis having a conversation on the same page panel where V is standing looking at the moon disk type of thing, right? Lots of things like that I'm trying to do, and be creative with it. Also, I am not afraid to reuse artwork. I am not afraid to reuse something like this right here, where he's getting almost stabbed by the moon disc being thrown, holding the target against the wood. I use the same thing here, but I tweak the face to change the obviously he's not angry in this one. He's like just kind of disappointed. I'm not afraid to do that because it's smart. It's smart. Comic artists do this all the time, especially TV shows do this all the time with animation. They use the same frames in Teen Titans. And so whenever I started realizing that, I'm like, I'm not going to be afraid to do this. If someone tries to call me out on reusing a shot, reusing artwork, I'm just going to say, look at every animated show you've ever watched or comic you've ever read, and I will show you where it's been done. So obviously I'm not going to spam only reused artwork because then it gets obnoxious, but I'm not afraid to do that, right? I'm not afraid to do that, and I think that's helped me speed production along quite a bit. Anything noteworthy about this? Not really. I just wanted to set up, the font. I wanted to set a retro green font to it. Make it have a sort of, what's the movie I'm thinking of where a kid hacks into a missile thing or whatever? I can't remember what it's called. War Games? I think War Games is what it's called. And he hacks into the U.S. military nuke system or something. And it kind of has this vibe to it. And I think it's a 90s movie. And I wanted to kind of do that for this. Kind of give it old school retro computer stuff. Also have the screen is rounded because it's a big CRT TV. And even like in some shots you can see like the bulge, whereas if you're looking at it here, it's front facing. There's not going to really be a bulge if you're looking at it front facing. But if you're looking at it from like a side or another angle, you can see like from this, it's like a sort of a side, not side, but like, slanted view. And you can see the bulge there. Whereas head on, it's alert, it's flat. Chad Gray Road, if I remember correctly, I think the reference for this, Chad Gray is the lead singer of Mudvayne. Yep. Yep. But Mudvayne is a 2000, I think they might have started in the 90s, actually. Yeah, 96 to 2010. Mudvayne has some popular songs. You may know the one that goes burr, burr, ding. That one, that basically is the metal band reference of this one. Now, there's another reference, and the title of this one is called Like a Stone, which is an Audioslave song, Chris Cornell. There's going to be, just get used to this, because there's going to be metal and rock band references of the 2000s on every single episode of this comic. Like, every single upload, there's going to be some references like that. So get used to it. It's not overwhelming, right? Most people won't even get the reference here, but the people who know will know. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to reward the people that know the 2000s stuff. But anyways, this running gag of him pulling out the moon disc from his shirt because it almost hit him like 5 times. Amy being a little over dramatic and being like, oh, like that. I thought that was kind of funny to play into that side of her character, right? Which, Amy fans, rejoice. The next comic will have a lot more Amy in it. This one doesn't really have a whole lot of Amy, but the next one will. Rejoice, Amy fans. Chester fans, rejoice, because Chester is always there. LeJohn fans also rejoice, because LeJohn is also always there. I mean, Amy's always there too, but when it comes to like episode plots, Amy is more focused on in the next episode. Anyway, this shot, she's putting on the mask. Actually, this is just a straight up city map of Phoenix. Now, this is current day Phoenix. This is not 2000s Phoenix. I could not find a map like this that could really accurately do it, but this is good enough. It is a map of like the Phoenix area, and these red dots are where all the teletunnels are coming out of. There's tons of spots where they can teleport each other with this device, and it lights up, the spiral thing's going, the lights on the outside are rainbow colored, just like the teletunnel, and blah blah blah. Chibi LeJohn, rejoice, Chibi LeJohn fans. You get 2 of them in this episode. But yeah, this is the first viewer slash follower of social media character getting put in here. I forget the guy's name on DeviantArt, but he won a contest, got his character put in here, and forever immortalized in Little Miss Steel number 2. And it makes sense, he's closer to the camera, so to speak. He's closer in the frame of the shot, so he gets drawn with detail. Everyone else, it's just silhouettes, and works for that. For this, I literally looked up stock images of people running and just sort of like referenced it, drawing it, basically, and used. I even used the same, like I would draw this one and then copy and paste it to this one, and I would like slim the character up, so this silhouette is a man, this silhouette is a woman. I would slim up the waist and kind of like, change the hair and stuff like that to give it that look. These 2 silhouettes are the same as well, just changed to make them more identifiable as male and female. Just stuff like that I thought would be good for time saving. and whatnot. But yeah, the front entrance of the bank. Then going down here, same shot, but people in front of it. I'm trying to mimic, like, sort of how cartoons will do this. Cartoons will have, like, shot, change shot, go back to that shot. I'm looking at this not so much from maybe not a comic book type of way of directing, but like a cartoon way of directing. I'm trying to make it feel and look as much like a cartoon as possible. But you got Sting here. He's doing this thing. Old Bill and Sting. This robbery's more tense than when Taniqua tried to divorce me. It's just kind of funny. The robbers, I decided to go with just like all black mask with like the mouth. The mouth is covered too, and the eyes are just like like the white almost Spider-Man or Robin eyes. And it's like the mouth. There's not a hole for the mouth. It's just like it's covering the mouth, and whenever they open it, it's just like a darker spot on it. But yeah, I gave this guy lips, just because. Gave him lips. Gave this guy a hole in the top so his hair could show. Just like stuff that would, like this like these designs are like not anything that anyone will really remember. But I tried to give them a little bit of character, right? Stonehold has 2 henchmen, and in the novelization, these henchmen are involved a little bit more. But I decided to just kind of like, they weren't very important, but they do appear again. They appear in the novelization in episode 7. Yes, it's episode 7 where they appear again. It's not very clear that it is them, but like in my writing, I'm like, this is them. This is the same guys. But anyway, Old Man, which is Amy's grandpa. This character right here is also another contest winner. Got his character drawn in here. And this is a shot that makes sense. Why wouldn't there be, more people in here in this shot? They're running out of the bank, right? And the old guy, he's the last one in. So it's like, crap, we're going to take this guy as a hostage. We're going to use him as leverage. However, Little Miss Steele has other plans. And, this action background, I use it a lot. It's something I made for Demonico years ago. Demonico's my webtoon. Hybrid novel. It's like a book with pictures. And I've been using it ever since. And it's because I think it's a good little splash background here and there to put. And kind of color-coded the characters too. Red for this guy. Yellow for this dude. They're never seen again. And then blue for Little Miss Steele, of course, because she's blue. But yeah, let me get a little bit of drink. Sweet tea. Then Stonehold reveal. Now you can't tell it in this because you're just scrolling down, but in the physical release of this, which I'm also going to do a local release as well, is the pages are basically designed to be flipped. Like that's why, there's like, it's not a black bar across here, across this part here, because it's like, I made them to be a physical book. And that's why there's no black bar dividing this. And maybe I should add it for the digital release. I don't feel like it's super necessary, but maybe I'll add it whenever I get some spare time to do it. But basically, it's designed in a way that every time you flip the page, something new is revealed. So, for instance, this first shot of the bank, the previous 2 shots, on the left, it's reversed in the camera, I think. But actually, no, it's not. This is my left. On the left hand, you've got this one with her pushing up the mask and the map. On the right hand, you've got him pulling down the lever. You got the portal opening and Chibi Lojan. And then once you flip the page, boom, new scene. Now we're at the bank. Now we're talking, on the right page. Now we're talking with Sting and Bill on this side. Flip the page. Boom, now we're inside the bank. Flip the page. Boom, Stonehold's design revealed. This is how Stonehold looks. And that's the whole idea that I had going into drawing this comic that I didn't always have in mind for the first one. And I realized about halfway through making the first one that I should be doing that. And I went back and changed some things to make it flow a little bit better. But this time with 2, I was like, I know I should be doing this, so I'm going to be doing it throughout the entire comic. And when I was planning, when I was like writing the script for, you know, how to draw it and everything for me to look at as I'm making it, everything just fit together so well. There's only one part where a scene change happens in between 2 pages, and that's the only time that happens in this, and it's one that doesn't necessarily feel too bad, but if you know, maybe I could have drawn an extra page in there somewhere, but I think it works out, and I'll get to that whenever I scroll down to it. This dots background here was actually part of an unused version of the first comics cover, where instead of having the lines going diagonally through it, it was dots, and I decided to use that for a background here because why not? It kind of looks a little kind of anime, like dong, kind of sound effect plays where the character's like confused, little Naruto type of thing, right? Where it's like boom, that sound effect. I can't replicate it good enough, but that you might get the idea. But yeah, this old man. I mean, he doesn't really have a reference to his design. I mean, I just wanted to draw a bald old man. No, no reference or anything really. Some people will say he's the purple guy. This is 2000s. FNAF wasn't invented yet. But yeah, this background. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Talking about drawing things to reuse them. The base wide shot where you see all of them, you see the whole base practically. It's where I'm standing right now. This shot right here, I drew with the intention of reusing in every single comic going forward, potentially multiple times. And the same thing happens with this bank background. This is a zoomed in version of the bank background, but it is used on lots of pages. It is used on lots of pages. For instance, this is part of it as well. This is not part of it, and neither is this, but they're using the same materials, right? The pillar is the same pillar, copy and pasted over again, slightly edited to make the 3-dimensional look to it work. The wall, same wall color and splotch effect on it, same color for everything, right? Everything is super consistent. Everything is all well put together. This right here, this first part is part of that same background. Obviously, this is just her lying flat on the floor, so I just drew squares. Again, action background. What the heck, Global Comics, load? Are you kidding me? Are you serious? What's going on? What? There we go. That's so weird. Why would it stop loading? I hope that doesn't happen for people reading it live. I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that's only a me thing. I don't know. Maybe my internet stopped working. No, because the stream's working. I hope that doesn't happen for people reading it. Anyway, again, zoomed out a frame so that it's not really worth it to draw all the details. So I just draw the figures. You get the idea. You know how the characters look at this point. You've seen them established on multiple pages at this point. You know how they look. He's stretching his arm out, slamming her against the wall, grabbing her again, turning around and slamming her on the other side. Again, same background, but the details of it are slightly moved around to make it work. There was originally 2 pillars in front of this, but I thought it was obstructing the shot, so I removed those 2 pillars and only kept the back ones. And same thing here. And it just saved so much time to draw one big, super detailed background. Well, I won't say super detailed, but detailed background of the bank, and then reuse that for so many shots afterwards. But yeah, there's a certain flow to this fight, right? V tries something, V makes a defensive move. Stonehold, she stops Stonehold from crushing the guy. Stonehold attacks. V dodges. V tries to attack. Doesn't work. Gets hit against the wall. V gets up, tries another attack. Doesn't work. Gets up, tries another attack. Doesn't work. And it's like the whole point of this first fight, the whole point of this is to show that she's running in without a plan. She has no idea what she's doing. She's not thinking about what she's doing. And she's just throwing stuff at him. She's literally throwing Moon Disc at a guy who's a rock monster. Like, it's not going to do anything to him. Instead, she could throw Moon Disc at the chandelier and have those fall down on him and maybe do something. And it's like she's not thinking about it. And so that's why she loses this fight, is because she's not using her brain. She's just trying to use her frustration, her anger, and try and just lead with that. And it doesn't work. So, she ends up in this position here. And menacing shot. Again, same background, but I retooled the angle of it. Some of the assets have been moved around to make it, to make it different. There's a glow on the top of Stonehold from the light. And I even darkened it to make Stonehold stand out more and make the scene look a bit more like a little more eerie. And the Dutch angle shot, I love it. I love using that. Sting comes in. He's like, "Open fire!" Gets a few shots on him. And this crack above his head stays throughout the rest of the comic. Because that's like his actual head. The rest of this is just other rocks that he could repair with other rocks. The idea is that this Stonehold, all the rocks you see on this Stonehold, might not be all the rocks you see on him later in the comic. He may have switched out his rocks for others. And that's the idea. And then this one where he's running away. Top-down perspective is kind of difficult. It's very difficult to draw. But I feel like this one, it's not quite fully top-down. It is at an angle, so you kind of get him leaning forward a little bit as he runs. But yeah, zoomed-out shot again, so very low detail on it, really. Not a whole point in putting a ton of detail if it's zoomed out so much, especially at the angle as well. But yeah, V ends up taking a bullet to the head, and this is a vital moment. It doesn't seem like it's that important in the grand scheme of this comic story, but it basically tells you how much damage can Little Miss Steel take. How much hurt can she take? She could take a bullet to the head, but she probably can't take continuous bullets to the head because it leaves a crack on her head from where her head was made of steel, and you can tell it was steel because there's sparks coming off of it. And even Bill references this. He's like, that bullet bounced right off. And again, I used the same running silhouette as I did from the beginning of the bank heist scene. I used the same silhouette for V. I just changed the hair and the figure a little bit. But yeah. So Sting is, this is kind of your first hint that Sting knows people. He knows people, right? And he might know a little bit more than you might assume he would, just being a normal cop. You might think he has no knowledge of the superhero stuff, but he does. Little ominous thing here. What's LeJohn looking at? What the heck is this? Oh yeah, once again, scene change. You flip the page. Now you're looking at LeJohn looking at the computer. Super Cutie. I talked about this. Cutie was my childhood dog growing up. Boston Terrier Chihuahua, otherwise known as a Chibo. Wanted to add her into the story because she's adorable. And even after all these years, I still miss her. But I decided to do this. Put a little cape on her. Cutie hated clothes. And no matter we tried ordering clothes for her, but she was so fat that she couldn't wear the clothes. We had like a winter jacket for her whenever it got cold, and she could not fit it. I have the video still of us trying to put it on her, and And she's too chunky, man. She was too chunky. Um, but but yeah, so like Chester's kind of holding her up, like, look at that, she's flying. Amy and Chester are like friends who who share two brain cells. Like they share two. They only have two and they share them. Sometimes, other times, Amy Amy is like, normally a fairly smart person, but sometimes when they're together, they share two brain cells. But yeah, so a little bit of depth of field, How did I do this? I drew everything in focus and only blurred the background. I basically drew everything in focus, copy and paste everything from the top to the bottom, and just blurred the things that were in the background on the bottom one and blurred the foreground on the top one. And I've done that a few different times on different projects and stuff like that. And it's very effective. It works pretty well. But yeah, so data entry deleted. What could that mean? I'm not gonna say. But the teletunnel's back up. Went with a different font for this because I thought it'd be funny to go for like a monster, like horror movie type of font, I guess. I was just looking at a bunch of different ones and I found this one to be like the funniest. Another running gag is, it's almost like 2000s Pokemon cartoons, where Brock is flirting with Nurse Joy or Officer Jenny. Every single Nurse Joy and Officer Jenny, mind you. And then Misty's like pinching his ear and pulling him away. And he's like, So something's kind of like that with them. Because, again, they share two brain cells. But at least one of those brain cells is dumb and one of them is smart. And so, like, you got... That's their dynamic. Like, you got the friend pairings within the friend group, right? You got a group of 4, you got 2 friend pairings. You got LeJohn and V, and you got Chester and Amy. And likely that's going to be where the shipping wars are going to be fought, is those two battlegrounds. But I'm sure there will probably be people mixing up the shipping as well with all kinds of stuff. You're welcome to do it. Just don't go too crazy. Anyway, again, the monster text. This is almost like a reused bit from Demonico. There's a scene where the main character, Simon, has a bit like this where he just, like, fire is all around and he becomes like this black shadow that's like screaming at someone. Similar bit to that with that in Demonico that I wanted to pull over here. The irony of saying I'm Arctic cool with fire all around you is also funny. Also, this face, I don't know why I decided to draw her nose so prodigious. But I thought it would be funny, and it is. It is kind of funny looking. Continuing the fire theme through the next page. And I love playing with the eyes. I love, just doing the silly eyes and stuff like that. To emphasize the comedicness of the scene. I think it's pretty good. And then LeJohn's head from the back is kind of funny to draw. Like, I can't really... It does kind of look like a mop, but I can't... It's not quite a mop. It's just kind of... It's a strange looking shape. But it is instantly recognizable as LeJohn. But yeah, and this also shows you, like, the back side of the base, the night dungeon. It shows, like, where the bathroom is, because you don't see that in the main shot here. You don't really see where a bathroom could be, but it's over here. It's in the backside. It's just off camera. It's kind of like, the fourth wall in iCarly's filming room, I guess, the studio room. It's like the fourth wall. You never see that one. Or in Seinfeld. I would have led with Seinfeld, but I don't think most people watching this stream would will necessarily know what Seinfeld is. Some people will. Most people, I would say, at least know of Seinfeld. But how many of you have watched it? I don't know. Next page, turn to page, brand new scene. The base. This, believe it or not, I looked up scenery of Arizona. And Google, being stupid, being Google, of course, serves me an AI-generated image of Arizona. I'm like, why? Just show me a picture, a landscape picture of Arizona. These pictures have existed for decades, and there's always new ones being added. Why do we need AI-generated images of Arizona? So basically, I was like, screw you. I'm going to draw Arizona landscape and do better than the AI, which I guess is up to the interpretation. But obviously, I'm not going for realism like the AI is going for and failing because it looks AI generated. I went for cartoony. But yeah, again, all the plants. I'm gonna add more plant diversity in future installments of the series. I drew this one and I was really proud of how this one turned out, the look of it. I can't even remember how I did this, to be honest. I think I just did like an 8-sided star and made all the edges really thin, and then I just copied that and put it on top of each other. Yeah, that's what I did. I copied that, put it on top of it, on top of the old one, rotated it slightly, did it again, rotated it slightly, and I think I just did that 8 times until I got this gnarly looking prickly thing, which is how they look. Like it's how they look. Maybe not perfectly spherical, but close enough. The jet. Fun fact about this jet. Let me pull up the picture. I made this. I made this jet in. Where is it at? I made this jet in a video game called Robocraft. It came out in 2014. Still up to this day. You can still play it. And I remembered that I had it, that I played it years ago when I was trying to think of a design for the Nighthawk. And I was like, wow, let me use this for the ship. And so I made it, and I basically took screenshots of it from several angles. And I still have the ship saved on the game, so I can always make new angles and stuff like that. But I figured I'd go ahead and take lots of screenshots of it. That is the toilet. Lots of screenshots of it from different angles, so that if for whatever reason the game server shut down tomorrow, I would still have plenty of stuff to look at for inspiration of how to draw it. And I've made more robots than this. I've made tons of robots and stuff. Like, these aren't the ones I've made, but these look really cool. I mean, there's an infinite amount of stuff you can make in this game, and that's why I loved it so much back in 2014. I still play it every now and then. It's a very creative game, man. It's a very creative game. You can make some really cool looking ships. But yeah, so that's basically where the Nighthawk comes from. The design of it. I just took screenshots, traced over it, and changed the colors up to match Night Vision's armor. And I think it looks really good. I think it looks pretty good overall. And, having the cannons on the side, the sort of rudders and stuff like that, like the exhaust, ports coming out of it. I think it looks pretty good. Is it the best looking ship? No, but it's far better looking than with me just trying to eyeball it and draw a spaceship. Well, not a spaceship, but a jet. Because I am not good with vehicles. I'll admit that. And I have to use tools like this. But if it works, it works. And I'm happy with it working. But like even, stuff like this little circle at the top is like a hatch. Because how are you going to enter it? There's an entrance at the back that you come out of. But there's got to be other emergency exits. So there's one directly above, and there's another hatch directly below. The wings are inaccessible. It's just all in here. And I had the silhouettes of the characters to scale to how they would be inside the ship. So the ship is not huge. The jet is not like a huge jet, but it's big enough to hold like 8 people in the hangar in the back and up here. So the cockpit and the base, it's built inside this mountain here. There's like a hatch at the top, descending down, landing here on this platform. The perspective was hard to get, but I think I did a pretty good job of it. Went with a little squiggly effect for the stalactites. Just something I wanted to do instead of making them just super sharp and precise. I wanted to have a little bit of a contrast between the natural rock and the unnatural metal platforms. But yeah, designs for these guys. This is Tyler Anno and Lady Lake. Crystal being her first name. These designs went through some works before reaching a final look to them. Decided for this episode to give him a shirt. Like he's coming back from a funeral. So he wore like a sleeveless shirt. Just, I don't know, I guess to be more modest. He's a giant dinosaur, dude. It's kind of impossible to find clothes to fit him, but he did manage to find this. And the tie. He also wears a tie just because he's wearing a tie. He wants to be a little bit civilized, right? Lady Lake, though, very different looking design compared to everything else. Her line colors are not just black like everything else. It's actually like blue. Everything about her is blue except for the yellow and the tiara and the eyes. Kind of unspokenly linking them together. Like, there's a significance between the crown and the eyes. There's a link there. But of course, Night Vision is listening to both of them talk, and kind of he's not really looking to achieve peace right now in the grieving. He's just trying to get the guy who did this, and then he can grieve, right? Not the healthiest way of going about it, but the different monitors are powering up. Here's what's on it. These artworks are from the novel banners, basically in between scenes in the novel on tapas. I would have these character banners with artwork of how the characters look. So this way I don't have to go into extreme detail describing how everyone looks. I can just show you a picture and say, oh, this is it. Remember this. This is how they look in the scene. Vision it. So this is actually, this artwork of Stonehold is a little bit outdated, but I kind of wanted to use it anyway because it emphasizes the idea that he can change how he looks. He doesn't look like his body isn't exactly the same as it is in this comic, but he's a rock monster. He can change what rocks he's using whenever he wants. So I kind of was like, I can justify using it anyway because he is a shapeshifter to a certain extent. But yeah, so that's where all these artworks come from. And they're also like teasers because all of these characters, these two obviously have already appeared, but these two haven't appeared yet, but they will. Flashback scene. Some more fantastic artwork from Sixus. Go follow him on DeviantArt. He does a bunch of anime and comic book fan art and Yu-Gi-Oh as well, among other things. Fantastic artwork, man. I love looking at this. Whenever he was showing me the stuff in progress, I was like, man, this is looking so good. I'm so excited to see the finished product. Had a few things to tweak here and there. But besides that, I mean, he nailed it. Very little had to change when he showed me the first draft of the finished product. He's just a good artist, man. He's just a good artist. He does a very good job. I'm glad I have his help on this because I would much rather have this have like an 80s comic book style flashback instead of just me drawing the scene in a flashback with the same style. I think it stands out more like this. But you've got like Night Vision's narrative, thinking about it while hearing the people talk, the different characters talk in the flashback. But yeah, just stuff like this. The 70s or 60s peace van. I wanted to throw that in here just because that's a very retro vehicle, very recognizable. Talking Tyler Anno looks so good in his style too. It's a design that I think just works so well for his art style. It works really good. But yeah, and then Power Metal as well looks pretty good in this style. Night Vision also drawn very well. Different look for Night Vision. He used to show a bit more of his face. And this is important for later. This is actually kind of a setup for a payoff that happens later in the comic. But a little bit of a battle here. He's going in. Looks like Miss Steel is a little bit injured. She's bleeding a little bit. Got some blood on the armor. She punched the arm so hard it broke off his hand and shattered the little bulb. It's like a little bit of a power core, right? It's showing like there's some energy going through it. Shattered that. And when he lands, he's sitting here looking down defeated, but then a drop of that blood enters where the arm's power core is, and it causes it to flash red for a moment. And that's where this all starts. This flashback is not just, visual candy for the eyes to see how things were like back in the heyday, but it's a way to see how the plot of this comic even got started in the first place. This is the inciting incident that would lead to what happens 20 years later, or almost 20 years later. This shot, again, this background shot, I did this far more detailed than the other backgrounds because I planned on reusing it, and I do reuse it a few times, and I think it looks pretty good. I used an actual warehouse for like a reference, exaggerated a little bit. I added some more curvature to the building, make it a little more cartoony looking. I just think it looks good. I think this is probably my favorite background I've ever drawn. It just looks good. The detail with the windows, the paneling of the wall coming apart, the stuff coming out of it, which I looked up as part of like a quarry. I don't know what this is, but I saw a reference of this coming out of the building, so I know it has to be important. But yeah, some like water barrels with some faucets on the side of it, some cranes and stuff like that in the background. Like I love this. I love this background. This is probably my favorite background I've ever driven. Oh yeah, even the roof tiling peeling up was a detail that I wanted to add. And I just think it looks really good. You can see the forklift a little bit inside, and then it shows Stonehold sitting on the forklift. Like he's so big that just a forklift with the roof of it peeled off is his chair. But yeah, not much to really add here. Silhouette, even though you know how the guy looks, it kind of gives you the idea that Stonehold doesn't know who he is because it's too dark. He can't really tell who the guy is. He wants to stay anonymous, right? It would make sense. So this way, whenever Stonehold gets beaten in this, some people might question, hey, Stonehold could just rat out and give a confession that it was Raymond Clank who did it. Well, he doesn't necessarily know it's Raymond Clank. He doesn't know who this guy is. So that's kind of the idea with this. The lighting, I wanted to add there's like a hole in the ceiling, so there's a little bit of a spotlight on him in here. And it goes for this shot as well. Show a little bit of Raymond here, but still concealed in darkness. And kind of gives you the idea okay, well, Raymond, he didn't capture Miss Steel, but he does want to observe her, right? He wants Stonehold to capture her now, right? Not really. If he does, he does. But if he doesn't, Raymond still gets to watch and see what her powers are truly capable of to see if she's worth capturing in the first place. He's measuring out the ideas, what does he really want to do? How does he want to go about this? Let's see if Stonehold can beat her. And if he can kidnap her and bring her to me, cool. If he doesn't, I still get to observe. So, villainous indeed. Same shot from the beginning of the comic. Now it's at night, just to show, establishing shots, I think are vital to showing people where they are. It's something that I see. It's actually a critique I have of a lot of comics I've read on the channel and reviewed on the channel, is that they often don't have enough establishing shots to show me where everyone is. And I appreciate when comics do that. So I try and do that myself in my work, especially because it's easy. It's easy stuff to reuse the artwork and just change it up a little bit, right? So this one I just changed the color tone in the background, added the moon. We're going to steal the moon. Minions be like. But yeah, I reuse this one again, but different. The characters are in different spots. Chester and Amy aren't in here right now, but Chester is like, towards the back end over here. Amy might be using the restroom or something now that V is out. And then you get to see all the detail of it, because before you only saw a little bit. You saw like a cropped in bit of the background, but now you're seeing like the rusty pipes, the spider web, like all that kind of good detail to it. I also like how the rust effect turned out. I think it looks pretty good. The holes in Chester's shirt. He's got to get a new tank top. Tuning his guitar, practicing that. And then V with her hair wet. V with her hair wet. That's it. That's the whole post. I love doing the as well for like having the dialogue bubbles. I like to kind of branch out with something like this where it's little miniature heads of the characters so that you know who's talking instead of trying to guess. For shots like this where they're not actually in the frame of the shot, it's a flashback of like, the fight that was happening earlier that's important to what they're talking about. And it's showing while telling, but I think it's more interesting to do it this way than to just have drawings of the characters talking back and forth. Like, spice it up a little bit, show a previous scene in a new light, with something new to focus on. That's kind of what I'm trying to do with this. And I think the heads in the bubbles, I think that accomplishes it pretty well. But yeah, this shot's kind of funny. Pops out the manhole and slams down the manhole, falls back down perfectly in place. I don't explain it, but I kind of have the theory that like it's magnetized or something. That there's some kind of technology that just pulls it right back down where it was. In the background, you can see the warehouse from this shot here. That again was used in the previous panel. Establishing shots. I love them. Oh yeah, that's right. This is the only time where I was talking about where like a scene changes in the middle of two pages. Like on the left, you see Stonehold and Raymond talking. On the right, you see the outside of Phoenix, the bridge. This is the only time that happens, and I think this is a good enough spot for that because there's not really anything happening on this page. It's just establishing where we're going as you're turning the page. I think it works for this scene specifically. And if I have to do something like this again, I wouldn't mind using this shot at a different time of day again for like something like that for a mid-page scene change. But I don't like to do that too often. I want to keep it to where like every time you're turning the page is when a new scene happens instead of having it in the middle. I just think it looks better. Let's see. Oh yeah, the fight scene. So set up the cop car. Sting is here. And then the fight begins. And there's not really too much for me to add about the fight itself. Not really too much to add specifically about creator notes or anything like that. It's just, I will say, oh, there's an error. What the heck? No. How did this happen? I gotta edit this. Hold on. Like this is an emergency. I gotta edit this right now. Holy crap, how did that happen? I can't believe that happened, man. I can't believe that happened. I looked over it too before I posted it. So I'm shocked. I'm shocked I missed that. I'm shocked. The shots do kind of blend together a little bit, to be fair. Just by the colors and stuff. The colors are all very similar. Okay, here we go. Okay, there we go. Now we're talking. I should have realized when I saw this shot next. I should have realized that was not right. Anyways, the background of the warehouse now becomes smoke because of the smoke grenade. That saved a lot of time for drawing backgrounds. I could just use the smoke. And to be honest, I'm going to do that again. I'm going to do that multiple times in the future. Maybe not every comic, but it's going to be a thing that I'm going to do multiple times because it did save me a lot of time just being able to reuse the smoke asset and the wall asset. Saved a lot of time for me doing it that way instead of drawing a unique background every time, right? I can obscure the details because it's smoky. And I have the smoke in front and behind the characters. So she plans. In the bank fight, she lost because she had no plan. She had nothing at all. Now, she's going in with an idea of what to do. She's going to use her gadgets to the best of her ability to distract Stonehold and get the jump on him. So she uses smoke grenade, jumps down from the ceiling, slams his head down. If that detached his head, good, she's won. If it doesn't, she's got a backup plan. Throw the moon disc, detach the chain, wrap it around his neck, yank it. And that will work. But unfortunately, it doesn't. His head is still attached. You can see it as it's getting pulled here. It's still attached thinly, and he's able to pull himself over. Turns out Stonehold has seen that before. Kind of giving the idea of the theme of this chapter is basically legacy, and how is V measuring up to the legacy of not only her mom but her dad, and that's the overall theme of this whole comic. But it's embodied in this fight scene because Stonehold knows this. He's seen this before. Like Night Vision tried doing this before at some point in the past. So later on, when he says you're nothing but a cheap knockoff of your parents, is like it's far more of a personal sting than just saying, "Ha ha, I'm the best. You're nothing." Ha ha. It's much better than that because it actually has impact on her instead of just petty insults, which is a criticism I have of a lot of Riververse writing. So here he's trying to like crush her with his hands. She's holding the back, grabs one of the hands, and then, which I feel like the red background with the black silhouettes kind of gives it a unique visual look. Like every time there's a big hit, it goes into that look, that style. And so like this, all the rocks flying apart, the mud splattering everywhere. And then all that, like I think it's a very good look. Speaking of mud, you get to see out here, there's the generator, there's the mud trailing outside, and, she's turning it on. Chekhov's generator. The generator is sparking, something to take note of. She turns that on. The rock's flying towards her. She just turns her head to steel just in time to not die. Basically, the rock hits her, then it smashes into like 3 different rocks whenever it bounces off her head. Another one hits her back. Stonehold's laughing because he knows he's going to win. And smothering again. Silhouette in the background. Obviously not subtle, but it's something to give you an idea of where this is going. However, V is not down for the count yet. She's got the grappling hook, which shoots that. Hits the generator that was sparking, causes him to be electrocuted. Of course, she is also electrocuted, so she's not feeling great. But at least she stopped being drowned in mud, or mud-like substance. Best if you don't think about it. But Stonehold, again, this lighting, dark on Stonehold, light on the edges of him because of the moonlight. His eyes are glowing. I think this looks really good. The framing of it is really good. Stone Cold Steve Austin reference here. This idea for the character, and I mentioned this in the previous stream. The idea for for Stonehold is like, he's my oldest OC. I used to call him Mudmar because he was a Pokemon OC. And Stonehold has made it this far. He's been renamed. He's been given a new persona instead of being a Pokemon that just says Mudmar, Mudmar, Mudmar. Now he's like he's a wrestling parody. I showed this to my friend Chris, who's actually a wrestler, and he said, "But God, it's Stonehold." Oh man, it's so funny. But yeah, he likes the character. He likes the references, and I think a lot of his wrestling friends, if they read this, will like it as well. But yeah, you get some dialogue from Stonehold being like, "Wait, what's going on? You're not supposed to be here. I was gonna win." And then by the time V rubs the mud off her eyes, which stays consistent throughout the pages, she sees that Stonehold his head is frozen. What's going on? Night Vision is here, and she's trying to say that she had it. She's trying to prove herself a little bit, but obviously she was about to die, or get gravely injured. And basically from here, she's talking about how Night Vision was not there for her. Her dad was not there for her whenever her mom was attacked. And he's trying to rationalize it, like, you're just gonna slow me down. Just go home, stay out of my way, and I'll take care of this. And she's like, no, I'm mad. A little teenage rebellion going on right now, and it's leading to this little intense argument here. This panel is kind of interesting because it's like they're looking up at each other. This line doesn't really need to be here, but I put it here anyway. I'm not sure why I put it there, but I did. Because it is like they are actually sized like pretty well. Maybe not exactly the same, but the idea is there. I don't know why this line is here. But and then it's like the real reason is because Night Vision doesn't want her to get hurt after what happened to his wife, her mother. And this is where, the next page, you see the helmet faceplate, the mask plate, lowers. Call back to the previous flashback where Night Vision used to show more of his face. He used to show more of his humanity, more of his emotions back then. Over time, he's become more closed off, especially towards his daughter, because she hasn't wanted to be a superhero. She wants to be a drummer. And now that what has happened to his wife has happened, now he's like, I don't want that to happen to her because she's all I have left. And it's a different thing. So now in this moment, wherever the emotion's coming out a little bit, the faceplate lowers. And that's a sign that maybe there's hope. Maybe there's hope for this relationship to be repaired. And that's just a little visual storytelling that I wanted to sneak in there. Just something to spice things up a little bit. Because I could draw the helmet over and over again. But at the end of the day, why not do some visual storytelling and spice things up by showing his eyes. Those green neon eyes. Those horrible neon eyes. Spider-Man 1 reference. But anyway, another flashback post, calling back to that. Power metal, and then death metal. The colors, slightly similar. There's still that gold, but now instead of blue, it's black. Instead of blue for the, lighter blue for the power to show the suit's powered up. Instead of blue, now it's red. It's classic kind of light and dark motifs for the designs here. And again, the heads and the bubbles appears again. I just think it works. I think it works for the dialogue, making it flow a little bit better. But yeah, that depth of field again, because I love playing with depth of field. Get a little bit of a final confrontation, like, I'm not going anywhere. You're going to have to stop me. And you get a moment where it's like, oh, the Arthur fist at his side. He's going to do something about it. He's going to try and stop her. But no, he actually leaves a radio for her to call for help if she ever needs it, and some of those frost bangs, which explains why Stonehold's head is frozen. So if anyone gets confused by that, keep reading. You'll understand why it happens. It may seem like it might be out of nowhere, but it is actually explained in the comic how his head gets frozen. And you hear a bang. Bang? What is banging, you say? A frost bang. It's basically like a little grenade flashbang thing that flash freezes small objects. And Stonehold's head is like this big, so it's not a small object, but it's small in perspective to other things. And that's how he stops him. Because that's the thing, is that Night Vision, again, because Stonehold referenced that he's fought Night Vision before, Night Vision knows what works against Stonehold and what doesn't work. He's like, I'm not going to try and fight this dude. I'm just going to catch him off guard and freeze his head, and he's done. He has no control over his body once the head is frozen. So that's the kind of thing. And that was set up in the conversation in the base before the second fight began. Another flashback post. My brother said this is a Giga Chad chin. I can see why you think that, brother. But it's not Giga Chad levels. It is a jawline. It is a jawline, especially because the shading makes it look more jawline-ish. If that's not even a word, but you get the idea. Something. I think it works. Okay, but yeah. So flashback here, you get the idea from the inner monologue of Night Vision that it hurts. He is really not feeling good. He is hurting right now, but he's just trying to solve the crime and get it over with. So, not the healthiest way of going about things, but that's how he's doing it. Anyways, this shot again. This was at the end of Little Miss Steel 1. This was like the last page here. Going back to this, I thought it was important to show this again. Show her in the tank. Show the laboratory. Little conversation between Raymond and his AI assistant, Iris. Show a little bit of the process. There's some blue liquid here. Blue liquid. That's glowing red and crystallizing whenever some kind of electricity is hitting it of some kind. What could that be? That's the blood. That's the blood from the flashback. A little family portrait that I didn't draw the family of. When I have a more zoomed in shot, I will have like a family portrait, but that I don't know when that shot is coming up, but it will come up eventually. Probably episode 5. If I had to guess, probably by episode 5, if it's not done by there. Or 4. 4 or 5. One of the two is when like the actual family portrait will be drawn. Anyway, this is lab. This is another full page, detailed shot that's going to be reused in the future. It's very clean. I didn't put the splotch effects or the line effects on this because I wanted to get the idea across that this is a spotless laboratory. There's no grime. There's no spots. This is spotless. And there's tubes and stuff going everywhere. So what are the tubes for? Where are the pipes and everything for? It's this. There, the stuff is coming out of this hidden chamber in the back of the room where Miss Steel is being held. There's tubes coming out of here. The tubes are coming out of the floor to the ceiling. From the ceiling to the floor. And it's coming out through here. And here is the blood. So not all of these tubes are the same thing. They're not all her blood, because that would be a lot of blood. But one of them is. And the rest of it could be like, something else. It could be air conditioning. It could be electricity or whatever. It could be like power lines, stuff like that. But it's supposed to be like... Because I thought about this, like, what would make, if someone entered this lab that wasn't Raymond, would they immediately be suspicious that he was keeping something secret in here? And obviously, while this tank and stuff are out, yes, it looks a little weird. But these tanks, I can take them out of the scene. I can do that. But, what would these pipes be for? They would be for electricity. They would be for other things. They're not... suspicious, and you know what I mean. They're not suspicious. They look like they're perfectly at home here. Elevator door, you can't really see it, but there's an elevator control panel behind his arm here. He's got the mechanical arm with the panel on his inner forearm here, like he's looking down at it. The purple box for Iris talking, I think, makes it very distinct that it's her voice. And this shot here, the stuff falls down. The lockers fall down, revealing the secret chamber. And then there's him looking at the crystal, the Titanite crystal. Got the panel of Miss Steel fighting. He's got cameras inside that warehouse. He was watching the whole fight go down. And he's like, if her powers develop more, she might be of use to me. But we'll see. We'll see, right? And that's the end of it. So, overall, that's basically everything I wanted to say about it. Fun working on this. A lot of fun working on this. I'm really proud with how it turned out. And, if anyone looks at this and says, man, there's so many more comics that have much more detail than this. Yes, it's true. I'm not going to even fight you on that. My comic does not have a whole lot of detail. And the reason why is because it's designed to look like a cartoon. and people will look at this and they'll immediately say like, oh, it's bad. Oh, it's bad. It doesn't have detail, so it's bad. Those people, I'm not making the comic for those people. I'm making the comic for people who love cartoons, specifically 2000s cartoons, and want to return to that era of storytelling. Those are the people I'm writing this comic for. And if I can get some people to be invested in the story, and maybe even some kids to be involved in the story and, loving it and also learning a few things, learning some good life lessons. Like the life lesson here is like, don't go into something without knowing what you're doing. Think about it. Think before you act. And also it's kind of showing like, what a father and daughter relationship should not be. It should be better than this. But I also think Little Miss Steel overall as a comic shows what good friends should be as well. Because this is a friend group that has like zero drama. This is a friend group that like they'll pick on each other and stuff. And maybe they'll get frustrated from time to time, but they have no long-lasting drama. There's no like there's no pointless arguing or grudges. They're all friends. This is what a good friend group should look like. And they can be honest with each other. And that's the thing. LeJohn is the most honest person here. He is telling V not what she wants to hear, what she needs to hear. And it helps her out a lot. It helps cool her down. It helps keep her grounded. And Chester's the comedic relief. Anytime things are getting too tense, he's the guy who's making the jokes. Amy's the one who cares a lot. Whenever everyone else might get a little more heated, she's the one saying, let's take a step back. Let's think about this. They all serve their purpose. They all serve their purpose in the friend group. And that's kind of the idea of this. So, with that being said, Part 3 is going to be crazy. Part 3 is going to be a lot of fun as well. It's going to develop the plot. The main plot a little bit further, but it's also going to have its own, kind of episodic plot. Like, each episode has an episodic feel to it, where Stonehold is this episode. Next episode is going to be a new villain. Fourth episode is going to be a new villain. Fifth episode is going to be a little bit different. Fifth episode is going to be different than the others. But then, it kind of goes back to that feeling again, the episodic feeling, because the fifth episode's halfway point. But yeah, that's really all I had to say about it. So I don't see anyone else that has some more questions. So if you have any more questions, if you're watching the VOD, comment and I will answer that in the comment section. So with all that being said, thanks so much for watching. Until next time.